So for me, deciding what I want to practice, if I get to my kit and I sit down and I think, what should I work on today? And I might spend a while debating what I want to work on, and that's not fun. If I'm going to schedule my practice ahead of time, where should I schedule it? Should I write it in a notebook? Should I put it on reminders in my phone? Should I have an Excel spreadsheet? And then when it comes to actually doing the practice, I like routines that are of a set length, for example. So I might work on something for 5 minutes, or I might work on an exercise where I want to play so many repetitions of an exercise and then up the tempo a little bit and then do the same reps and then up the tempo some more. And doing that manually and having a kitchen timer or a timer on your phone and a separate metronome and having to stop and restart timers and change tempos, all of that kind of stuff I find is a distraction from the actual practicing, which is the fun part. And then if you want to log your practice, what do you log it in? Do you, again, write it down in a notebook, or do you have an app to put it into, or do you put it into an Excel spreadsheet? And then when you've got pages and pages of notes that kind of said what you worked on, how do you take that information and make it useful to you? There are notifications in PolyNome. If you go to Preferences, right at the top, there's Current Notifications, and you can turn on Achievements, which will give you a notification at the end of each day that tells you if you've beat any previous practice records and how long your consecutive days of practice are and whether you've beaten previous practice streak records. So you can turn on a daily summary, which will give you something every day, a weekly summary, which will give you a summary at the end of the week, and monthly summary, which, believe it or not, will give you a summary at the end of the month. Then you can turn on a practice reminder. So this is just an alarm to say, go and practice. And finally, there's this missed practice reminder, which will basically give you a kind of kick in the backside if you haven't practiced for a number of days. So maybe you only practice 3 times a week, so you don't want a reminder every day, but you want to be nudged if it's 2 or 3 days since you last practiced. So you can set that up in here. My day might start by PolyNome telling me it's time to practice. Rather than just come here and go and find random presets that I want to work on, I would have set my practice schedule up in playlists. So we'll go to the playlist page, and right at the bottom you'll see there's this quick access area. So what I do is put the playlist that I want to work on into a quick access playlist with the name of the day that I would work on it. So if you tap on this gear button, I can load a quick access playlist, and I set up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So let's pretend it's Monday. So I just tap on this, and this loads my practice routine for Monday. So I've decided that I'm going to work on singles and doubles warm up, and then I'm going to play the 40 essential rudiments, and then I'm going to do the Wilcoxon's piece. So that's my practice for Monday. So I'm going to load the singles doubles warm up, and this has some automatic tempo changes added to it. So it plays singles for 1 rep and then doubles for 1 rep. It's going to increase by 10 BPM on each loop of the playlist, and it's going to go from 100 to 120, and then it will reverse and stop. So all those settings are in playlist controls. If you swipe to the bottom, when looping is on, you can turn on tempo change. Like as you turn these on and off, you get more options. So tempo change is set to increase by 10 BPM. I turn on boundaries and I say minimum tempo 100, maximum 120, and the action is reverse and stop. So basically it's a warm-up cooldown, and because it's going to stop at the end of this, PolyNome is smart enough to be able to calculate how long it will take to play this entire routine. So the first loop is going to take 4 seconds, and to do all the tempo changes it will require 5 loops, and so this entire exercise is 20 seconds. So if I hit play, watch here, rep 1, no tempo change. Rep 2 plus 10 BPM. Rep 3 plus 20 BPM, and 120 was our maximum boundary. So now it comes back down. to 110, and then back down to 100, and then it stops. So that's my warm-up and cool-down. I didn't have to time anything, I didn't have to change any tempos, I could play along to that. I know exactly how long it's going to take. There are things you can do in PolyNome where you can tell it that you have more time. So if I tap on this playlist time row, set total time to 2 minutes and 20 seconds, you see that it changes how long we're going to play each thing for. So it's figured out that if you play the singles for 14 seconds and the doubles for 14 seconds, and then you increase the tempo, the first loop is going to be 28 seconds and 5 loops is 2.5 minutes. So basically you've got your warm-up and you've now just customized it to fit into the time you have available. So if you didn't have 2.5 minutes, you say I need to do a quicker warm-up, set total time, I've only got 1 minute and 24 seconds. So now you're only playing 8 seconds of singles followed by 8 seconds of doubles. Whenever you have a playlist that knows the playlist time, this playlist time will show up in the playlist manager. So if I just quickly jump into playlist manager, you can sort by practice time or recent. So recently we did the singles doubles warm up and the practice time is 1 minute 28 seconds. And when you are adding playlists to a quick access, which I'll show you a bit later, you will see that the time is summed at the top. So this warm-up takes up 1.5 minutes. This is 53 seconds. This is 3 minutes, 50 seconds. So you can see, if you've got time to do all these exercises. So once you've finished your warm-up, this quick access has automatically scrolled along to say the next thing you want to work on is 40 essential rudiments. So I'll tap on it and it loads the playlist. I can tap on this practice log button, takes me into the practice log for 40 essential rudiments, and I can see the last time I worked on this was 4 days ago and I played it for 1 minute, and today I've played it for 31 seconds. Basically you're competing against yourself. So if this got to 100%, that would mean that I practiced as much today as I did the last time I practiced. In the filters, you can just tap on this and say, show me my practice log for everything. And in here, when we look in the charts, it'll be clearer. So this is all the practice I've done today versus yesterday, all this week versus the previous week, all this month versus the previous month. And if I look in the charts, most time on the Snarky Puppy preset, and then some on Pyramid Song. And then this is the practice time versus playlist, and then practice time versus tempo. We're in the Stone Killer Hands Workout playlist. Let's say I want to set a goal for this playlist. We go to the practice log and we tap the goal button. And that brings up the goal setting sheet, and it's fairly self-explanatory. There's explanations about each thing, but you have two goal types. You have an open goal, which is just a certain amount per day or per week or per month, and you have a deadline goal, which is a certain amount of time by a certain date. I'm going to say my target practice time is 10,000 hours. If I turn on deadline goal, completion date has been changed to ensure practice time per day is less than 8 hours per day. Based on practicing a maximum of 8 hours a day, PolyNome has automatically figured out that the completion date of this goal is 16th of January 2024. So you'll note that this 8 hours a day should change if I made it a year later. That would only be 6 hours, 11 minutes a day. 2026, 5 hours, 3 minutes a day. So basically these things are all kind of interlinked, and I just think it's useful to be able to tweak these dates and see how it affects the daily practice time. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to be posted at polynome.net/demos. We covered about 10% of what it does in this video, just geared specifically towards this idea of tracking practice. If you think somebody would find this useful, please send them over to polynome.net/demos and spread the word as much as you can. I really appreciate that. And until next time, adios.